Long time ago, in the village of Kambili, there lived a man called Soma. People called him Soma for short. Soma was a very proud man who was full of himself. He felt he was better than everyone around him. He had no respect for anybody, especially women. He was married with 3 children, but still, he treated his wife like a piece of rag. He would talk to her anyhow and treat her anyhow, even in the presence of people. One day, he abandoned her on the road and came back home because he said she was walking too slowly for his liking. He often called her an illiterate just because she was not so educated. Everyone avoided Soma as they felt he was too troublesome. Soma had a bookshop in the market where he sold books. He selected his customers as he said his store was not for everyone. One day, a woman came to the shop to buy books for her daughters, and Soma asked her what the books were for. She said it was for her daughters going back to school. Soma started laughing that she was just wasting her money and that training a girl child in school was just a waste of money and time. The woman felt offended and talked to him rashly. Soma insulted her and her husband in return and refused to sell any books to her. The woman angrily went to report to Soma's wife what her husband did to her. Soma's wife apologized and said she cannot advise him or talk to him about it as it will lead to a very serious quarrel. Soma never supported anything that had to do with women in the village. When the village was preparing for the Women Week, all men were asked to contribute a particular sum of amount, but Soma stood up in the meeting and told them that he wasn't contributing a dime to any woman, that it was supposed to be the other way around, for women contributing for men. They practically contribute nothing to the family, he said. Soma concluded by saying, as for him, women are of no use. That day, there was a serious quarrel in the meeting as Elder Ikenga told Soma that maybe it was his wife that was useless because his own wife was very useful to him. Soma laughed at him and called him a woman rapper, that his wife had sucked all his blood. That is why he is so slim and his wife was so fat. People in the meeting laughed in disguise, and that made Elder Ikenga leave the meeting in annoyance. The next day, Elder Ikenga and his wife were walking to the market when they met Soma on the road. He started laughing uncontrollably and said, just look at yourself and look at your wife. It is obvious that you are finished. He laughed again and walked away. Soma only enrolled his 2 sons in school and his only daughter stayed back at home. According to Soma, he doesn't want to waste money on someone that will end up in the kitchen. Soma's wife got pregnant for their 4th baby. Despite her condition, Soma exposed her to all manner of chores. One day, Soma was hanging out with his friends in the beer parlor when one of his friends advised him about how he was treating his wife and daughter. And Soma flared up and said it was his decision how he ran his home and insisted that he will not waste his money training any girl child. Soma left the beer parlor in anger. Soma's wife was coming from the stream one day with water on her head when she met the women leaders of the village. They were shocked that Soma would allow his wife go through such strenuous chores with her pregnancy. The first woman said, "Why will your husband allow you go through this in your state?" Soma's wife was just looking in fear. The second woman leader said, "This is an abuse on womanhood and Soma must be stopped immediately." Soma's wife pleaded for them to forget it, that she will be fine. They refused and said that if he is not stopped, very soon other men in the village will emulate his terrible attitude. The women leaders reported to the elders in the village. They summoned Soma immediately. When Soma was asked why he subjected his wife to such an inhuman act, he said his wife was only carrying out her responsibilities and that his own responsibility as a man was to provide for his family. One of the women leaders said, "But she's pregnant and deserves more respect and care." Soma laughed and said, "What is there to be pregnant? Is she the very first pregnant woman? Is pregnancy a new thing?" That it was nobody's business how he runs his home and no one should interfere. With that, he walked away from the meeting. The elders called him back, but he did not answer again. When Soma got home, he was very angry with his wife, accusing her of going about the village reporting him to the women leaders, and that if she was not satisfied living with him, she should please pack her things and leave the house, that after all, she was not doing so much to contribute to the family upkeep. Soma's wife cried profusely that night as she felt very insulted. Soma's wife soon put to bed a baby girl. When Soma learnt it was a girl, he didn't even bother to come to the hospital or even pay her medical bills. It was the women leaders and the elders that paid her bills. When she got home from the hospital, Soma made her resume her chores immediately. One day, as Soma was leaving for his shop, he told her to help him clean up his room, fetch water in the house, take the keys to school, wash all his clothes, and prepare his favorite meal before he comes back. His wife protested that that was too much, as she was just recovering from the stress of pregnancy and childbirth. Soma threatened that if he comes back and those things were not done, that he would deal with her severely. That night, when Soma came back, he didn't see his wife. When he asked the children about the whereabouts of their mother, they said she just said she was taking a stroll and dropped a note for him. Soma read the note where his wife lamented about his ill treatment and how she has packed out in order not to die young. Soma went in to check if it was really true and realized that she has indeed packed her things. Soma hissed and said good riddance to bad rubbish. As he was about to enter his room, he heard the cry of the baby. That was when he realized that his wife even abandoned their 3-month-old daughter too. All through the night, he couldn't sleep as the baby cried all through. He woke up very early the next morning and prepared his children for school, made their meals before taking them to school. He couldn't go to his shop that day because of his 3-month-old daughter. He tried to drop her with his neighbors, but none accepted because he had had issues with most of them. His shop was closed for the meantime as Soma fell ill. It all started with him feeling feverish in the morning and also spitting at intervals. Then gradually he started having headache. Soon he noticed his stomach was increasing gradually. Soma visited the village hospital and the doctor said his condition was very unusual. He asked him to run some tests and come back the next day. When he went there the next day, the doctor broke the news to him that he was pregnant and that the scan results showed he was 3 weeks pregnant already. Soma was confused. Do men get pregnant? The doctor said all his time as a doctor, he has never witnessed anything like this, and he requested for him to quickly register for antenatal. Soma got angry and left. Soma's stomach grew bigger, but still in that state he had to go to the market to buy foodstuffs for his family, prepare the kids for school, wash the plates, wash their clothes, fetch water from the stream, and more. It was so exhausting for him. The news of Soma's strange sickness went round the village. While some felt pity for him, others were of the opinion that he was cursed by the gods and deserved what he got. Anytime Soma passed, both young and old would make jest of him. He was in so much emotional and psychological pain. He visited a strong witch doctor for spiritual help. After a long period of consultation with the gods, he told Soma that the spiritual queen mother of the land, Ezewanyi, was angry with him, and that the day his wife packed out of the house, she cried to the riverside to report him to the spiritual queen mother of the sea. The witch doctor continued that the queen mother has placed a curse on him, and that is why he is pregnant. That the difference between his own pregnancy and that of the women is that he will forever be pregnant and never be delivered of a baby. Soma was in so much pain and cried out and asked what can be done. The witch doctor told him that first he needs to take 3 goats to the great Ezewanyi and beg for forgiveness. Then he will go to 10 different pregnant women and ask for their forgiveness. Then lastly, go find his wife and beg her for forgiveness, that he should buy for his wife whatever she desired the most. The next day, Soma took 3 goats to the riverside, knelt down and started begging for forgiveness. Immediately he left the riverside, he started looking for the 10 pregnant women that would forgive him. While some pregnant women he saw forgave him, some who knew his past actions refused. But Soma begged and begged, telling them he was a changed man now. He searched everywhere for his wife until he saw her at his sister's place. Soma went on his knees and begged for forgiveness. He said, "My dear wife, I have taken you for granted. Now I realize your role in my life. Indeed, you are very important in my life. You were gone for just a month and I couldn't cope for 1 month what you have been doing for over 10 years. Please, this will never happen again." His wife felt so much pity for him in that condition. She forgave him and immediately the protruding stomach disappeared. Soma enrolled his daughter into school. The villagers were surprised at his sudden change. Soma's story became an example to every man that wanted to disrespect his wife. Soma never disrespected women again and contributed greatly to the welfare of every woman in the village.